Before I start, I would like to say all the information I have in this video is from fandom. Anyway, let's talk about Peacemaker, a character who will be showing up in James Gunn's new movie Suicide Squad. Peacemaker's real name is Christopher Smith. He is currently the field commander for the Suicide Squad. He isn't villain nor hero. He's neutral. Fandom's description for him is, Peacemaker, real name Christopher Smith, is an operative at Task Force X, who has dedicated his life to the elimination of war. His motives are driven by an extremist form of pacifism, I can never say that word right, which makes him want peace so much he would kill for it. The first appearance of his character is in Fightin' 5, number 40. That came out in 1966, but the first appearance of him in the current timeline, or Prime Earth, is Doomsday Clock number 9, that came out in 2019. Just want to point out that the Fightin' 5 comics that he was in were just a shorter story that some comic books have after the main comic story. Now let's get into his backstory. Christopher is the son of Austrian industrialist Wolfgang Schmidt and American author Elizabeth Lewis. He was born in New York City, but raised in Austria. His father committed suicide in 1955 after secrets about his past in the war came to light. He had commanded a Nazi concentration camp in Poland and had war crimes on his name. Christopher, 5 years old, witnessed the event which traumatized him. The trauma would define his life and his relation with his father. Elizabeth returned to the United States with their son and changed her name to Smith. Christopher had difficulty fitting in and became rebellious and aggressive. He began to see visions of his father in an SS uniform speaking directly to him. Wolfgang urged Christopher to excel in academia to be worthy of his legacy, and he did. The day he turned 18, Christopher enlisted in the Army during the Vietnam War. The war was in its final days when Sergeant Smith was assigned for his first tour. After an error from military intelligence and urged on by the voice of his father, Christopher Smith inadvertently massacred a village full of innocent people. As he was in charge of the unit, he was made the sole scapegoat. A court-martial sentenced him to 20 years to life in Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. His mother died while he was in jail. Christopher Smith was given parole, provided he worked with the U.S. government on Project Peacemaker, an elite secret force that fought terrorism. Urged by the voice of his father, Christopher accepted and excelled in his training. The program was shut down before it could start, but Christopher was freed anyway. Christopher returned to Austria to head his father's business. He changed the main production lines from ammunition and weaponry to household appliances. Now a millionaire, he lived his life and eventually settled in Switzerland. He founded the Pax Institute in Geneva, a charity dedicated to helping war victims. In the capacity of chairman, he started his own project, Peacemaker. His goal of peace he wished to achieve in two ways: in his civilian guise with the charity, and as a mass peacemaker. Peacemaker, a one-man army with high-tech weapons, became an important part of his life, and his father's spirit kept harassing him to become more and more extreme. His mental illness also became worse, as he thought the souls of those he could not save lived in his helmet. During the Crisis on Infinite Earth, Peacemaker battled the Anti-Monitor Shadow Demons in Philadelphia alongside the Cyborg, the Vigilante, Wildcat, and Son of Vulcan. During the battle, Peacemaker suffered a debilitating head injury. The damage to his brain may have pushed him over the edge into insanity. After the agency figured out his secret identity, Peacemaker was shanghaied into service. Agency chairman Valentina Vostok used his services and saw that he went to therapy with Dr. Brigetti Diab, I have no idea how to pronounce his name, sorry, to temper his psychological problems. After the agency was dissolved, Peacemaker briefly worked for Checkmate. After that, Amanda Waller recruited him in the Shadow Fighters. The mission was to rescue a girl in Parador. The Shadow Fighters fared badly against Eclipso, who had taken over the country. While piloting a helicopter, Peacemaker was brought down. The entire team was reported killed in action. Smith's apparent spirit showed up in purgatory during the Day of Judgment. Years later, now much more mentally stable, a somehow resurrected Christopher Smith stumbled upon the tomb of Ka-F Ree while he was fighting Intergang. He discovered some alien tech belonged to the Reach. He courageously downloaded the Reach's infiltrator program into his mind. After seeing horrible images of what an infiltrator could do, he set out to the El Paso to see a person program was meant for, Jamie Reyes. I just want to point out that all this happened before 2011, when New 52 started. Even if in the current timeline it changes in the future, this is the current backstory. They didn't use him that much until now when he's in the Suicide Squad. Peacemaker in the current timeline has barely done anything. He was in the Doomsday Clock event and had a little story in the Inferior 5 comics, just like in the Fighting 5 comics, and is now part of the current Suicide Squad. There isn't much information about the Inferior 5, Peacemaker comics, and the new Suicide Squad run that just started, so I'm just going to talk about Doomsday Clock. Peacemaker was among numerous superheroes who traveled to the surface of Mars aboard a fleet of starships after the orchestrator of a large explosion in Moscow was tracked there. The heroes discovered a strange structure on the planet with a singular occupant, the culprit, Dr. Manhattan. Although the heroes initially tried to discern Manhattan's motives, negotiations fell through, and a combined offense was launched on the culprit. However, Dr. Manhattan defeated every hero, including Peacemaker, and left them on Mars. Even though I'm not going to talk about the current Suicide Squad run, it's still very good and would recommend it. They had a cool crossover with Teen Titans Academy and also showed me just how cool the current Red X is. Anyway, last but certainly not least is his powers and abilities, except he only has abilities. Let me read off the list from fandom. So, he has aviation, piloting, diplomacy, because before becoming Peacemaker, Christopher was a career in a diplomat, gadgetry, leadership, martial arts, which includes Eskrima, Muay Thai, stick fighting. Peacemaker is a highly trained combatant, capable of briefly keeping up with talent in a fight. He also has military protocol, stealth, tactical analysis, and weaponry. Peacemaker, of course, also uses weapons and equipment. The weapon he uses is normally a long barrel pistol. The equipment he uses is his suit, which is like body armor. His helmet, which is a long-range sensor used for detecting people in the area. Also, two other things he also has sometimes is a jetpack, as well as a fighter jet with missiles, machine guns, and an AI autopilot. Well, that's the end of the video. Hope you learned some things about Peacemaker. Make sure you go to watch Suicide Squad movie. I'm watching Saturday with my friend Benjamin, who has a YouTube channel as well, so shout out to him. So I hope you liked the video, and, goodbye.